The CX-9 is dead, long live the CX-90. What's up folks, I'm Dave Underkoffler, Editor-in-Chief of Autolist.com, back with another one-week test drive. This week's victim is the all-new Mazda CX-90. This is a full-size three-row family crossover that replaces the CX-9 in Mazda's lineup. It now comes in either a gas version or a plug-in hybrid version, and fully loaded gas versions like the one you see here can top $60,000. So is it worth that kind of money? Which of these two should you choose? And how do they stack up against rivals like the Kia Telluride, Hyundai Palisade, Toyota Grand Highlander, and Honda Pilot? Let's go spend a week with them and find out. All right, let's start with a look at the exterior of the CX-90. The one you see here is a fully loaded plug-in hybrid version, but there's almost no difference between this and the gas version. You're gonna see some badging right there. This is PHEV, but that's about it. There's a badge in the back I'll show you in a minute, but otherwise they look identical. Very nice design here. They're definitely trying to go up market, so there's more chrome pieces. There's chrome here in the grille. You've got a daytime running light signature there. Sort of works its way into the headlight. We have a fully loaded model here, so this is 21-inch alloy wheels. It's not going to be standard on all trims. In terms of size, this is about 1.5 inches longer than the CX-9 that it replaces, but the wheelbase is 7.5 inches longer. So definitely tucking those wheels into the corners more. It's about an inch wider than the CX-9. And then for the rest of the segment, this is on the larger end of the three-row family crossover segment in terms of its overall size. I gotta say, the design of the back I really like. That's sort of a BMW kind of look back here, almost better than what some BMWs look like these days. Very sleek, definitely tell you they're trying to move it up market, which that price tag reflects. And again, the badging I was talking about, it's gonna be a little different on the plug-in versus the gas. And then you've got normal badging there. Take a look at the third row of seats, which is up right now. Interior space is the same between the plug-in and the gas models. So decent amount of room there. And then of course these will fold. Pull those out of the way. Almost flat. I know some people really want to know if they're completely flat, right? If you're going to put a lot of groceries back here all the time. So no, not completely flat, but nearly flat. And then you can see we've got captain's chairs on this version. I'll show you more about the interior a little bit later. But yeah, good space. You've got some outlets there. That's kind of handy. And then another one over there. So overall, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this look? Do you think it looks more upscale? Or would you prefer something like the Kia Telluride or the Hyundai Palisade? Let me know. Love to hear your thoughts. All right, let's check out those engines. All right, let's start by looking at the gas models of the CX-90. There are actually two different versions. There's the Turbo and the Turbo S. They use the same powertrain, it's just that the Turbo S has been tuned for more power. So regardless of which you choose, you get this 3.3 liter turbocharged inline six-cylinder engine and a 48-volt mild hybrid system. On the Turbo models, it gets 280 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. On this Turbo S that we're testing, you get 340 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. On all models, you get an 8-speed automatic transmission and full-time all-wheel drive. All right, and now we'll look at the plug-in hybrid version. So this has a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine paired with an electric motor, and together they make 323 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. That electric motor is powered by a 14.8 kilowatt-hour battery, and the EPA says that this CX-90 will do 26 miles of all-electric driving before it switches to gas. All right, let's look at the interior of the CX-90. As I mentioned, we're in a fully loaded Turbo S Premium Plus model, so this is gonna have all the bells and whistles, all of the goodies, and it better for over $60,000. A couple of things you're probably noticing. You have a 12.3-inch color touchscreen here, and then a 12.3-inch screen there. This is on the higher end trims. Lower end trims will get a 10.3-inch screen here and a 7-inch digital display right there. On the larger screen, you get wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Let me show you CarPlay. There you go. This is a touchscreen, but then you also have a rotary knob down here with some fixed buttons, which is nice. I like that redundancy. You also have the volume knob down here. So that's a great placement. Other premium models like Audi, BMW, they're putting this down here, so it's nice that Mazda is sort of going that route. I will say I don't like this this display or this user interface. It is not intuitive. Let's see, we'll go to entertainment. It's kind of hard to find the things you want to find, and it's a lot of screen, and it seems like sometimes they waste some of the real estate. Not as intuitive as you might expect, so that's a pretty big disappointment. I do like that this is a touchscreen, so you can use it that way, but overall, yeah, there are definitely better systems out there. What I do like is that Mazda has physical buttons down here. You guys know, if you've seen previous videos, I hate it when it's all just touchscreen, so oh boy, careful what you wish for, right? Lots of physical buttons. Again, because we're in the loaded model, we have a heated steering wheel right there. It's not going to turn on because the car's not on. We also have heated and ventilated seats. There's a rear climate control, as you can see. Overall, the materials in this are really cool, really nice. I like this sort of fabric material here. You have this stitching pattern down below. Light wood here. Seems like a little bit too much of this flat black plastic. I don't love that on a $60,000 vehicle, but overall, really nice mix of all these materials. I could probably do away with some of that brushed chrome or that bright chrome. I prefer it if it was more brushed metal. But yeah, overall, it looks really nice, right? Mazda's definitely stepping up their game. Another thing I want to point out is this shifter, right? So a lot of electronic shifters today. If you were to put the car, put your foot on the brake and put it into gear, you would just pull this back. This little knob would sort of articulate backwards, towards you, and you put it into drive. This one, you actually need to move it off to the right and then down. It's just sort of counterintuitive. I don't know why it's been bothering me. I've asked other people who have driven this model and they've also been bothered by it. So minor nitpick, but just wanted to point that out. You also have wireless smartphone charging down there. You can see the light blinking. And then I wanted to point out, you also have a panoramic moonroof up here, but this has got to be one of the smallest openings for a moonroof I've seen on recently. That's it. It's fully open now. A little disappointing. You would hope that you had all this real estate, it might open more than that. But anyway, so let's take a look at the middle and rear seats. All right, let's take a look at the rear seats and the middle row of seats. First of all, before we do, I just want to point out just how wide this door opening is. Really handy when you're trying to load a lot of kids in there. I like that. You don't see that every day, so just a small feature that I've appreciated. We'll get in. Because we're in a fully loaded model, you're going to see some goodies on this that may not be on every trim. That includes a sunshade there, and then some of the trim here. Down below, we've got climate control, and you'll notice heated and cooled seats. You don't see cooled seats on the second row every day, so that's a nice feature to have. You also have a pair of USB-C charging ports right there. We're in a version with a fixed center console, and they call this 6-passenger seating. So this does not move out of the way. You do have some storage space down below, some cup holders. There are other versions of the CX-90 where this entire thing will be a bench seat that's split 60-40, and that will give you 8-passenger seating. And then there are some versions that this console is not here, so there'll be a pass-through to the rear seats. So it all depends on which trim you get. There are a lot of different permutations, so definitely check it out at your Mazda dealership. In terms of space, if you've seen our videos, you know the drill. I put the front seat to where I would have it. If I'm sitting up there, I'm 6'1", so you can see the seat is there, and I have tons of space, right? Knees, got a nice little pocket here, by the way. It's kind of cool. But anyway, space for my knees. Headroom is great, even though we have the moonroof. So yeah, good space. The seat I'm sitting in also reclines. I'll move that back a little bit. So that is nice. I will say though, the interior space on the CX-90 does not match the space of some of its rivals. So if you are putting a premium on space, you may want to check out some of the other competitors. This is more form over function. And then you have the rear seats back there. So let's get me back there and see how much room we have. All right, now we're going to take a look at third row space. So I'm going to crawl back here. You'll have to forgive me. I have not tried this yet, so this is a bit of an experiment. I'll slide this back. So there we go. So yeah, this is actually not that bad. The front seat and then the middle seat are where I would have them if I were sitting there. So this is basically 3 6'1" people in a row. And this is manageable. It's not as roomy as some of the CX-90's competitors, especially when it comes to my feet. There's not really many places for me to put my feet and kind of wedge them under the seat. But in terms of leg room, knee room, and headroom, it works. I can hit my head if I sit up really tall. But this isn't the penalty box that maybe you'd expect, kind of given the profile of the CX-90. So I can spend some time back here. I also like that there's a USB-C charge port on this side and on this side. So overall, yeah, this could work. But you are going to see competitors like the Honda Pilot or the Kia Telluride, Hyundai Palisade. They are going to have more space back here for adults. So if that is important to you, definitely check out those models. But if this third row of seats is going to be used sort of in a pinch, if you have extra kids in the carpool, this CX-90 will definitely work. All right, next up, driving impressions. And there's a version of this CX-90 that I like and a version that I don't like. We're going to start with the one I don't like. That is the gas-powered version. As I mentioned, we are testing the Turbo S. So this is 340 horsepower. You'd think that would be more than enough. That's more than most other models in this entire segment. But it's not. At no point in this driving experience does it feel like it has that much power. There's turbo lag from a low speed, and then at a high speed, when you're going to accelerate to pass somebody on the freeway, it also doesn't feel like it has that much horsepower. So that's pretty frustrating. A few weeks ago, I was in the Honda Pilot. That has 285 horsepower from a naturally aspirated V6. And that always felt like it had more power than this, which it shouldn't. So that's pretty frustrating. I also think the transmission shifts feel a little clunky in this gas version. So overall, kind of disappointing. And I got to point out, this is the fully loaded Turbo S. So this is 340 horsepower. I haven't even driven the Turbo model, which has 280 horsepower, but I can't imagine that it's any better. I will say the fuel economy of the Turbo S is actually pretty impressive. Over 350 miles of testing, we averaged just over 24 miles per gallon. And that's pretty good considering how large this vehicle is. That's definitely better than I've gotten in other competitors to this CX-90. So feather in its cap there, but it still doesn't offset sort of the power disadvantages that this model has. Meanwhile, the plug-in hybrid version is better, and there are a couple of reasons for that. For one, the electric motor does a better job of sort of plugging the holes of torque when you're going to accelerate. So the acceleration from a dead stop is much smoother and more linear in this plug-in than it is in the Turbo S. So I like that. It's a more sort of serene, predictable driving experience. I also just love the fuel efficiency. I can charge this at work. We don't have a charger at home, but I can charge it at work. And then throughout my commute, I'm almost never using gas during the week. So during the week, I was seeing fuel economy ratings of about, 85 miles per gallon equivalent. That's pretty cool. Once we were driving more on gas and I wasn't plugging it in, those numbers dropped a bit. But right now, we're still getting 35 miles per gallon, and that's over 338 miles of testing. So that's really good. And to me, that's an adequate trade-off of efficiency for power. This has enough power to get the job done. And like I said, it's how it delivers that power that makes it more of an enjoyable ride than the gas version. I will say that this CX-90, whichever version you're in, definitely feels very solid. It feels like it could compete with the Acura MDX or the Genesis GV80 in terms of refinement. The road noise, the wind noise really aren't an issue at all in this car. It's very comfortable too. You can do a very long road trip with the entire family in it, and everybody's going to have a good time. So Mazda has definitely achieved its goal in that regard. All right, folks, there you have it, our 1 week comparison of the Mazda CX-90 plug-in that you see here and the Turbo S. As I've mentioned, this is the version I think everyone should go for. It's a great mix of efficiency, style, comfort, and practicality. Taken as a whole, the CX-90 lineup certainly is good up until a point. We definitely don't think it's worth the $60,000 price tag of the Turbo S that we tested because it just can't compete with rivals from Audi, Acura, Lexus, and Genesis. So for reviews or listings of this CX-90 or anything else you're shopping for, new or used, be sure to check out Autolist.com. And before you go, like and subscribe to the channel so you can get alerts on all of our future updates. Thanks for watching.